At the beginning of the school year, a rumor started spreading around the school that an old tree had the power to bring lonely hearts together. Not that Jonathan or myself would be interested, right? According to the rumor, anyone looking to make the object of their affection fall in love with them had to accomplish a specific ritual. One had first to write the name of the loved person on a sheet of paper. Then, one had to collect hair from that person and tie it to a few strands of one's own hair. Place the tied strands on the sheet of paper, fold them into a tiny parcel, and bury it in front of the tree. After a couple of days, one's wish would come true. This whole spiel was initially circulated on social networks, but Jonathan and I suspected it was merely a lame prank made up by bored students. Well, that is until Linda, a female student from our class, decided to use this urban legend to get the school hunk. She didn't listen to my advice to forget about it, especially considering this guy already had a girlfriend, and she still followed the weird ritual. A few days later, the whole school was surprised to hear that the guy had broken up with his girlfriend and was now dating Linda. But things didn't stop there. After a month or so of happy dating, both Linda and the guy started changing drastically. The two became quiet, too quiet, and looked very tired and distraught. Then, one day, as I was home writing articles for the sports column, Jonathan called me and told me to hurry to school because something dramatic had happened. A student had found Linda's boyfriend dead, hanging from an old tree behind the school. The school and the police had set up a blockade in order to prevent anyone from seeing that horrific scene. But Linda managed to get through, and her heartbreaking screams and cries were heard miles away. A week later, Linda still hadn't come back to school, and I started to worry about her. I convinced Jonathan to come with me to visit her. When we arrived, her Terry mother opened the door and told us she had locked herself up in the room and hadn't eaten or drunk anything ever since. We still went upstairs, and Linda agreed to let us in. She looked so thin, so frail, and her eyes were red from crying so much. She had dark circles under her tears, and her hair was a mess. She sat on her bed and started muttering something. I went near her to comfort her, but suddenly, upon seeing Jonathan, Linda screamed and said that she was sitting on Jonathan's neck. We were both completely startled and didn't quite understand what she meant. Following her boyfriend's death, she started suffering from psychological problems, which could have been an explanation for this nonsense. But although we tried asking her what it was all about, Linda refused to say anything. 1 week later, as we were all in class, we received the shocking news that Linda had hanged herself at home. Jonathan and I had a feeling that the old tree behind the school was not foreign to any of this, so we decided to find out the truth. We immediately went to Linda's house and asked her parents if we could borrow her diary on the grounds that we wanted to use it to honor her memory in the school paper. In her diary, Linda had written that despite having a guy she wanted and loved, she never felt truly happy. Whenever they would be together, her boyfriend would always behave in a strange way, physically present but otherwise completely absent. She also wrote that soon after they started dating, she would often see a ghost-like woman hanging around her boyfriend's neck. That eerie creature had particularly long hair and would look back at Linda with an evil smirk. The day before she committed suicide, Linda had dreamt that this woman, bloody-faced and wearing a crumpled school uniform, was standing under an old tree behind the school. She was laughing hysterically and asked Linda, "Do you really want to be with this boy forever?" Linda had immediately nodded in approval and hanged herself the following day. I read every word written in the diary and got goosebumps and shivers all along. But we were even more intrigued by the old tree and went questioning former members of the school's press club to ask about a possible explanation. They then told us about a sad story that had taken place at our school 10 years earlier. At the time, a popular couple was making the school's headlines. They would meet under an old tree after school every day, and this tree had become the symbol of their love story. One day, out of the blue, they broke up after the guy had fallen in love with the younger student. Heartbroken and devastated, the abandoned girlfriend hanged herself from the same tree on graduation day. Students in school starting a rumor saying that the girl's soul would bless love stories and saw the tree as a sacred and magical one. Young couples would meet below its majestic branches for their first date or kiss. Others would bury tight strands of hair at night or early in the morning before school. It's funny how they seem to have forgotten the terrible and horrific conclusion, and that she hanged herself in the end. The rumor and myth has been passed on ever since, and many female students keep on following the ritual and trusting their happiness to the tree and to the spirit of the deceased young woman. I wrote about it in the school newspaper, hoping to convince students to beware of the curse. Although my article was very successful and read by most, I'm afraid untimely deaths are not over yet, and that we'll keep on burying heartbroken souls.